We're sorry, Mr. Sukumaran, but we don't think your child is going to be able to do something productive with his life. Have you ever had your life start with an apology? And if you asked me to say what my name was, Sujit would take 30 seconds to come out. My very first school where I went in for admission, I was denied admission despite making it through the merit list because I looked weird. If only you were normal, we could have offered you the job. I didn't have an entrepreneurial background. I didn't have an entrepreneurial godfather. I didn't have a physical level of fitness that could make me a model entrepreneur, but I did it. My name is Sujit Sukumaran, and I'm a disability rights advocate, a cerebral palsy survivor, an entrepreneur, a teacher, and a lifelong student. 35 years ago, when I was born premature, a kilo and 160 grams, as a blue baby, immediately written off at the time of birth for being too small, too weak, and unlikely to survive beyond 2 weeks. It's been more than 14 days and 14 years now. It's been 35 years, and here I am. What did I learn out of being severely disabled and very crippled throughout the beginning of my life? I knew very much that I couldn't do different things like normal children could do. Let alone walk, standing was an impossible task for me. I had to be carried from seat to seat, from place to place, much on the mercy of somebody who would want to carry me on their back. It pained when I used to see every games period from the window when people were playing football and I had to spend that time in class because nobody would allow me to go and play with the others. And as a young boy or a young girl, the only thing you want is to be accepted in a crowd and acknowledged. When we used to go to shop in supermarkets, parents used to stare at me awkwardly as if I was from another planet. Put things in perspective, I did have problems. I had a squint in my right eye, my spine was curved, I used to drool from one side, I had calipers on both my legs from the toe to the hip. And if you asked me to say what my name was, Sujit would take 30 seconds to come out. My very first school where I went in for admission, I was denied admission despite making it through the merit list because I looked weird. I aced all my grades. I had a supportive system at school. Ironically, one of my school counselors just before I graduated again told my mother that this boy, he's got through school somehow, but we don't think he will be able to study in college, be independent, and even get into a job or anything like that. You have to keep him under consistent monitoring. Little surprise then that 15 years later, the same counselor, just on the brink of his retirement, extended an invitation through the principal of our school, calling me to address all the graduating class on career choices and decisions to take in a changing and disruptive world. It was the same auditorium where I was written off 5-6 years ago, the same auditorium that I got called back. And the first thing my mother did when she saw this gentleman is like, "Sir, do you remember us? A couple of years ago, you were the guys who said that it'll be a miracle if he studies anything or becomes anything in his life." Do not let other people's opinion of you become your reality, because once you make it your reality, it will become your destiny. And once you think what others think of you is right, that is what eventually happens. After that, what is the next essential in anybody's life? A career, right? I was having difficulties with jobs, and equal opportunity is good in policy, but I had it the hard way because I used to knock doors, go in for interviews, go through multiple rounds, and then they tell you in a careless whisper that if only you were normal, we could have offered you the job. Nevertheless, I took what I got, I worked my way up, but even there was the glass ceiling because you weren't the normal guy who could be promoted into senior management, right? And somehow I got disillusioned very quickly. I kept jumping multiple jobs, 2 years down the line. And then finally, for some stroke of luck, I decided I had enough. And coming from a non-business family, no ancestors in business whatsoever, I took the plunge 5 years ago and started a small firm of my own. Surprise today is that I'm doing pretty well. Touchwood, could do better, no complaints. But despite Corona, we haven't let go of any people. Business is doing all right. And surprisingly, the people who probably denied me a job, not in their karma, but from whatever their positions they were in, they're the guys who are sending CVs to me and asking me whether I have vacancies within my networks and contacts. My last boss told me, listen, you are unemployable. You should even stop trying to be employed. You should do something else. Maybe his words of wisdom is what made me an entrepreneur today. You should take utmost delight when something doesn't go right, because it's probably God giving you a signal that you're destined for better things. No doesn't mean no opportunity. To me, it has always meant next opportunity. Do not let other people's visions about you come true by subscribing to their version of reality. I didn't have an entrepreneurial background. I didn't have an entrepreneurial godfather. I didn't have a physical level of fitness that could make me a model entrepreneur, but I did it. If you have an idea, if you have a dream, do not allow anybody's opinion of it to define it. Or, worse enough, kill it. Because there are very few people with ideas. What's the worst that can happen? You will fail. You get back down, start again. The master has failed so many times more than the student has ever even tried. And that's a fact of life. When I was young, all the girls who I liked did not like me. And the girls who liked me, I did not like them. Talk about demand and supply economics. I even thought I will never get married at some point of time because of my condition. And uncles and aunties used to come and tell me, well, people like you should not aspire for this. Today, as the stars have it, I'm blessed to have been married to a person who is normal. I have a wonderful family, a great life for myself. And I'm not saying it's a great achievement, but for someone who was again written off as being unmarriable, small things which are normal for everyone. For me, every step is filled with a lot of gratitude. I run my own business. I have a family of my own, and life couldn't be better. Because every time life has tried to write you off, you had two choices. You could either get written off or rewrite the story in your own way. The moment you do not win in a game, either you practice better so that you get better and better every day, or you change the game or change the field to level it and ensure that you play well. Life is short. You only live once. And it's very simple. In the short side, most of the time, life is a tragedy. But in the long run, you will understand that whatever ups and downs you have had, the crests and troughs you have had in your life, everything is a matter of how life progresses. Nobody owes you anything by way of having to listen to you, having to give you a job, having to give you an opportunity, or even be nice to you. All those human courtesies are nice. If you get them, God bless. But otherwise, life is something to be lived and forged forward. Every day is a challenge. If you have a physical disability, God bless you. If you don't, I'm sure you have some other disability. Question is not to whine about it. Question is to decide, I have this and what I can do. It has been a long journey. And it has not been an easy journey. It probably looks very easy in these 15 to 20 minutes. But the question is that everyone will have these experiences in their life at some point of time or the other. The question and the key question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to play victim and say, I am in trouble and what do I do? Or are you going to play victor and say, so what? What is my alternate scenario that I can take leverage and mileage from? The rule of thumb is that as long as you survive each day better than what yesterday was, you're doing fine. It doesn't matter how fast the other competitor is or how good the other person is. You're in this race and in this life only for yourself and to be a better version of yourself and the people who are dependent on you. As long as you do that, you're ticking all the right boxes. Move from the victim to the victor syndrome as soon as possible, and life itself will smile and be kind upon you. Thank you.
Tell us what you think about this video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.